Hi, and thank you for joining Coffee Talk Podcast. I am your host, Sharon Walls, and I am joined today by my special friend, my sister, my classmate, Brandy Spikes. I'm so glad that you could join us on today. You're looking so beautiful, girl. You're glowing and growing. It's so good to see. So thank you so
Thank you,
much
girl.
for
Thank you
being
for
here.
inviting me. Thank you,
Oh,
girl.
I appreciate you so much, honey. We're gonna have a good time. So today we want
Yes.
to talk about moving forward after breakups, and we can be forthcoming about even our own personal lives. We both know what that feels like. We've both been through breakups. We've both been through a divorce, and so I wanted to talk about this topic because I feel that it affects a lot more people, especially women, and how we process and how we move forward after breakups. So I wanted to bring you on and get your perspective on it. If you are joining in and watching this podcast after this recording, please leave any comments. Let us know if you can relate to this, if this has affected you in any way. We would be glad to hear from you. So once again, Brandy, thank you so much for joining us on today and moving forward
Thank
after
you.
breakups. So what would you have to say about it?
Well, by I'm in my 40s, so you by this point in life, you've probably had one or two, breakups to move on past.
Mhm.
I do think that any breakup that you go through, it kind of helps to develop or maybe changes you, I would say, even into you go through different sets of changes, and it introduces you or maybe reintroduces you to a lot of the parts within yourself that I strongly feel are kind of ready to come to the forefront. With I think the most important thing to really focus on post breakup is that to move forward. And I don't say that lightly. There is hurts and pains, that need to be dealt with. There is reflections that needs to happen. But at the end of the, did I do that? Is
Well, it's beautiful. Well, baby, that's something to celebrate. Moving forward after breakup. We need to see that, honey. Okay. That's
so
it.
so always in the background, we
Uh-huh.
the objective is to move forward. Moving forward
Right.
will include a little bit of grief, because not only are you going to grieve what has passed, but you
Uh-huh.
also have to grieve that version of you that was there,
Woo,
because
child.
that
Don't
version of
talk about
you
that though.
is gone.
Wow.
And that can be sad, Sharon. It really can.
It
Can it? I mean,
can.
I know it can.
And it
It is.
was.
It's like it was like, but
I didn't
wait,
think of that.
no, I am wifey. I
Yeah.
am the mom, and I cook and I go to work and I do this, and I don't want to say goodbye to her. I don't want to be
Mhm.
single. I don't want to be, yeah, I don't, but no, that is where your power is, because for whatever reason, life has pulled you there. It was not
Uh-huh.
a mistake. I do not believe that. That is where the way that your life has led you and pulled you. And so in that forward step is also the little bit of grief with honor, grief with honor, that can look and say, sweet darling, you did your best. You were wonderful. You did your very best. I love you. I'm going to take it from here. You rest. You were hurt. You were whatever, and you stay
Right.
right there. And now I'm going to step in and I'm going to move us forward. And then the next version of you can, in an empowering way, be born
And it is
and get
empowering
ready
because
to.
the new version of you that shows up to take over and move you forward and say, "Get it together, girl. It's not over. You still got life to live, honey. That's still
Yes.
one." So it
Wait and
didn't
see
work.
what's next. I got some
You
plans for us.
tried, right, honey, but the new version of you like, what the hell was you all this time? Like sometimes
Exactly.
you're even surprised that the new version of you showed up.
Oh,
You know what I'm
yes.
saying? Because usually, most always, not always, when especially when there's a divorce after decades of marriage, there were a lot of things leading up to that anyway, right?
Yeah.
And so the old version says, for whatever reason, you don't want to get a divorce because you know all the stigma that surrounds divorce. So there was a
Exactly.
lot leading up to that, but we continue to stay there with just for whatever reason, we continue to stay in it and stay there with hopes that things will get better. And so the I can speak for me. Times when I should have stood up, times when I should have used my voice, and times when I should have said something, I didn't. But then once, like you said, that new version meets the old version, and we start having conversations, honey, and I start speaking up, and I start declaring that, oh no, not today, and this is not going to be, and start using my voice and speaking up for myself, and these are the things that I need. And if you're not willing to meet that need and moving forward, then this may not work, and more than likely we're going to go our separate ways. You're like, well, where were you this whole time? I could have been speaking up. But I still feel that it's lessons, and
It
those
is.
lessons learned, right? So that when you
Right.
do show up, you're empowered. Girl, there's something
Yes.
about, we can talk about this all day. There is something about, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like, even if for, I was talking to my good friend earlier today. See how they acting up already. Talking to my good friend today, and I was telling her that dis-ease is what creates disease. And it's
Yes.
not always there's an ailment in the body, but it's the dis-ease
Yes.
in a relationship where it's, baby, putting the burdens and the strain and the stress and all the things that come with you carrying a relationship by yourself and feeling like you're in it by yourself. Dis-ease is what creates
Yeah.
disease. And then once you are out of that thing, it seems like overnight you get better. I don't know what it is about it. Overnight, you could be sick and don't even know why you're sick. And you let that
Mm-hmm.
thing go, that burden,
Let it go.
whatever it is. Because
Yeah.
sometimes you got to divorce people, honey. Sometimes you got to
Yeah.
divorce jobs. You're on a job for 20 years and
Yes.
you got to break up with the job. So we're talking about breaking up with jobs. We're talking about breaking up with people. We're talking about breaking up with friends. We're talking about anything that's not serving you, anything that's keeping you in a place that you cannot show up being your most authentic self. And you got to keep changing to satisfy people and changing who you are to meet others' needs, and it's taken from you. We're talking about all that. We're not just talking about relationships. We can go here and there and talk
Across the
and
board.
apply. Yes, we can apply this to several things that happen in life. There is something about finding yourself and standing up that does something for you and being empowered, and the weight that comes off of your back, you feel lighter, you start glowing and growing, you start doing all the things you that you wish you could do. You start doing it, honey. No more wishes because you're doing it. Like all those things, that's freedom that come with choosing yourself. Religion say
It
no, you're
is.
supposed to don't think of yourself more highly than y'all to, but there is freedom in choosing yourself. There's it's beautiful
It's
in
so
choosing yourself.
beautiful. And you
Yes.
recognize that woman. You're like, hold up, hold up. I
Yes.
know you. I know you. You are
Yes.
so beautiful. You are so strong. I knew you were in there. I didn't know how to
Yes.
get to you, but I knew you were in there. It's like you
Yes.
recognize her immediately, and you're like,
Yes.
whoa. And then you move on. You say goodbye to the former versions of you. You embrace this new version of you, and you even can see the perspective that there will be many other versions of you, but right now you're this version,
And it's a
and you're meant
constant
to
change.
be this
Beauty of
version.
And
Yes.
that's the beauty of it, that it's always a constant evolution, a constant transformation. And I feel that every day we show up better than we were yesterday. There's no need to compete. That's why I'm all about empowering women, because we as
Yes.
women must stand up, unify, unite. We can't be petty. We're not competing. The only reason I should be competing with you, Brandy, is if we're in the same school as teachers and the Teacher of the Year award is coming out. Now let's,
Exactly.
I want the award just like you want the award, Brandy. That's the only time we should be competing. I shouldn't have to compete with my sister, who
Exactly.
I know you want what's best for me. So why should I compete with you? You're
Exactly. And especially when you can see that you're going through the same things, then I can tell you, when my post breakup season happened, the women that
I don't
surrounded me was pivotal to me moving
okay,
forward
okay.
because hmm,
So are you saying that you had good women who surrounded you and supported you?
good women that yes,
Okay,
and
okay.
like it happens in life, they it kind of seemed to come from out of the blue, but it was unexpected, and it was this strong band of women.
Uh-huh.
You were one of them. Strong band of women that I was hearing what they had to say. I was seeing what they were posting online. I was getting postcards in the mail. Thank you, Sharon.
Darling.
And that's why it's so important to as a side note, that's why it's so important to reach out, because you
Mhm,
never really know what another person is facing, but those things are so important. And it was women that I worked with,
mhm,
and just friends that surrounded me, and I didn't really talk about what was going on, but it happened, and it was a lot of strong women that's coming together, and there's no room for the competition, the thing. That's back in the day. That's way we're beyond that. We have evolved as women beyond
yeah.
that. We support each
And
other.
mature
We
and strong. Yeah. That we don't do any of that anymore because it's about lifting each other up, surrounding each other. I hold up my hands, and when I can't hold them up anymore, women like you surround me and help hold my hands up. When I can't stand on the wall, you get on the wall with me. You push me, you pull me, you motivate me, you talk to me, you speak to me, you remind me of who I am, remind me of my purpose, remind me of my why, because we're all going through something. And yes, moving forward after breakup it's a painful process, it's a grieving process. There are people who take longer to get through it because grief is, it looks different on everybody. Some people take a little longer to get through it. Some people don't want to accept it. They go through the guilt, they go through the shame, because like I said, people look at you like it's your fault.
right,
I feel that in any relationship, whenever it closes, there's both partners hold some sort of weight as to why it ended, whether it's 10% or 90%, 50 and 50,
exactly.
just whatever, right? Both parties were in the relationship. So when it ended, we both hold some share of the weight of why it ended, right? So it's always, always, like you said, pivotal to have support and to have people surrounding you as you're moving through this and moving forward, choosing yourself, and like you said earlier, falling in love with yourself and let that person fall. What did you say? And let that person
Fall
fall
back,
away,
fall
fall
away.
back. And that
Exactly.
once a person has made up their mind of told you that the relationship is this racial relationship is no longer working, being able to accept it, moving forward, and like you said, falling in love with yourself, because that's what it
Oh,
is about. It's falling in love with
it,
yourself. Because for
it
so long
is.
we forget ourselves. We're wives, we're mothers, we're
Yeah.
we're daughters, sisters, we're employees, we're community workers, just whatever shoes that we're filling, which is for the most
Yeah.
part multiple shoes that we're
Exactly.
filling. And so we do so much, and sometimes we're on robots sometimes that we
Oh
don't
yeah.
even know that we're going through things. And that's
Right.
why it's also vitally important, especially with that emotional support, that you take out time to sit with yourself and be alone with your thoughts and be able to
That's so
navigate those thoughts, right? And be able to come
right.
to terms with what happened, and then make sure that you have certain things in steps so you're able to move forward and get through it. And it's hard. I'm not saying that it's easy, like you said. Hold on a minute.
It
It's
is.
not. It's not easy.
No, it's not easy. And a big part of moving on too is realizing that once the connection is broken,
Uh
looking
huh.
at that person and realizing a lot of the reason that this is hurting me so bad is because I liked the version of me that they held in their mind. I liked the compliments I got. I liked the version of me that they had. And to kind of consciously realize that you are that. You do not need another person to reflect you.
Right.
You do not need that. You can move
Nope.
forward. You can see yourself in those ways. Look, I don't need this man to tell me I'm beautiful. I am beautiful. I don't
Baby,
need the man
yes.
to tell,
Honey.
and I appreciate it. It's not that I don't but it's that
Right.
we have to realize that value is within ourselves.
It is always. It's always is, and always was. And it didn't
Right,
work
right.
out.
And it
That's what I
didn't
said.
work
It didn't work
out.
out. And in my situation, it didn't work out. And I know that I gave it everything that I had. I gave it everything plus some, and then some more. And it didn't work out. Life
It did.
isn't over. So what? It
It's
didn't work
not
out.
over. Exactly.
The divorce is not my marriage is not who I was. A marriage is what I was in. It didn't define
Exactly.
me. Divorce didn't define me. If
Ex-
anything, I'm better because of it, because I learned a lot of valuable lessons, and I took those lessons, whether they were negative and whether they were positive, especially the negative, and I was able to transmute that and work for me. And then moving forward, let me choose me now, because for lots of times I didn't always choose me. You
right.
know,
Right.
so people just have to know that. Side note, true happiness comes from looking at yourself and liking what you see. And that any person that's in your life, whether that's a romantic partner, whether that's friends, family, everybody in your life should come to add to you.
Exactly.
No one can make you happy, but they come to
Exactly.
you and make you happier. And if you're not happy with you, and if you're looking on the outside for any source of happiness, you're already at zero, because
Hmm.
it has to be an internal state of mind that I'm happy with me, and even more happier because I chose me.
Exactly. It's the choice within. It is
Yeah.
the choice to be happy. I choose that. I don't need you to choose that for me or you to do that for me. I take the responsibility. It's my happiness and I'm going to choose it. And there's so much power in that.
Woo.
So much.
Yes. There's so much power in it, because your partner, your friends, family, whoever, when you choose you, most people don't expect for you to choose yourself, especially when for so long you have been choosing other people and doing what other people wanted you to do versus what truly you wanted to do, right? So
Right,
whenever you
right.
do that, you be like, whoa, where
It
was that
works
going?
out so good for them when
So
you
yeah,
did not choose you.
they're saying it too. Like they saying the same thing. Like, where is this? Who is this?
Right. Who is this? She
So
choosing
not
herself?
just you, but they too. Because you shock you. We'll shock ourselves, and then we shock them too, because we
Shock
stand up
them.
and choose ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
2024, honey, I'm holding people accountable even more.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm big on accountability. I'm holding people accountable even more. And a lot of people, of course, come to me for relationship advice and relationship counseling, because guess what? I got a doctorate in that. I done been through some stuff. I qualify to talk about it, And
Exactly.
like, if you there and you continuing to go through, the things that you're telling me you're going through, and if you're there, then that means you're still not choosing you.
Right.
We got to, in this 2024, honey, about accountability and choosing you. And for people to understand, especially women,
Mm-hmm.
if you break up, I'm not saying to go and do that, but if in choosing yourself, and especially if you're in a situation that's not good, if it ends in a divorce, and if it ends in the breakup of a relationship, do that, because in
Right.
choosing you, and every day that you stay in it, every minute, every second that you stay in a situation that's not good for you, that's every single day you're dying slowly. Of,
Yes.
and guess what? A physical death. Because remember, dis-ease creates disease. And when you're in a situation where you have dis-ease going on, the body begins to talk to you, and your body can and will begin to fail when you're dealing with dis-ease, dealing with
That
somebody.
is so true. It's giving
That's
you signs. All it's yep. It's telling
it
you
is.
something is wrong.
Yes,
Yep.
honey. So we talked about ways to move forward, and then being accepting it, the grief, the acceptance, the guilt, the shame, all those steps that you go through when you're grieving, because we know that divorce is a grieving process. It's death.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
death a lot of
It is.
times. Because like you said, that old version of you is for the most part, it goes away with the marriage. And then you can emerge and show up as a better person and find that power within that you didn't think was there. And that when people look at you, be like, man, you're glowing and growing.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
It
It's
is.
and then you look at yourself in this woman and you're like, wow, like look at what you've been through. Look at
Right.
how you really stepped up to the plate. Look at how you have stepped forward and moved on, and you're still kind, you're still, those things come together. And by putting yourself at the forefront and really focusing on loving you,
Uh-huh.
you welcome in those things like kindness and compassion. Those, you're just welcoming that in, because you're basically saying, look, I'm going to take responsibility for my happiness. I don't even have to have an issue with you anymore. I don't have to have
Right.
an issue. I love you. I hope you're happy, because guess what? I am. Over here,
Right. Right.
we're happy. So I
Yes.
hope that you can be this happy.
Right. Right.
It's transformative.
It is. And it's beautiful too that when there's a breakup and you can forgive that person,
uh,
move
mm-hmm.
forward and then share the same space with them. And I'm good. They
Exactly.
may not always be good, but I'm good.
I'm
But
good.
it's shocking to some people that you're good. But I'm good.
Yeah.
And then to go through all the things that you go through and still show up and have compassion, still be kind, not be ugly, can go into another relationship and enjoy it, to not give up on love.
Right.
Then when you go through something, a divorce, a breakup, a major breakup, moving forward to the next relationship, you do make different choices because you're not the same person. Remember, it's a new version of you. So you don't move into that next relationship the same, and you shouldn't.
Right.
You're not.
Right.
So that's beautiful.
So beautiful.
Thank you so much, Brandy, for joining me on today.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Sharon.
It was so good to have you, Lou. We're going to have a part 2 and a part 3. We're not done with this because there's so many things that we can talk about when it comes to working, moving forward after a breakup. So I would like to invite you, next time in the future.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for joining me on today. Thank you all so much for coming to Watch Coffee Talk podcast. Hope that the things that me and Brandy have talked about has given you some nuggets on today. Please leave your comments and let us know how you have moved forward after breakup, and we will answer those comments and engage with you. So Brandy, thank you so much for being here. I love you so much. I look forward to working with you in the future. And honey, I'm looking forward to those sunset drives.
Yes, my darling. Of course.
Oh,
sunset chasers.
Many blessings to you this year. Remember, there's more in your 2024.
Yes.
Blessings, honey.
Thank you, Sharon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.